Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I wanted to give my review, my full season review of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, as well as do an episode rankings and all that. For Dead City, I sort of separated these videos, but I figured I might as well do it all in one video because it's all kind of related anyways. And yeah, so obviously be careful for spoilers for season 1, though I'm sure most of you guys have already watched it. And if you haven't subscribed to the Empty Minds podcast, definitely go and do so. The podcast will be, or a new episode will be out at some point today. There's just a few things that we have to do before we upload it, but yeah, the next episode 15 will be out today. We actually rank all of our favorite horror icons and we sort of do like a bracket challenge kind of thing, and I think it's flawed. I will say that because my favorite character got out in the first round and I just completely, it just makes no sense whatsoever. Like that character I think should have won the entire thing. But you can obviously go listen to the podcast and post your opinions down below and say Michael Myers is the best. I'll leave a link in the description below, and yeah, definitely consider subscribing here. But let's get into my review here of season 1 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. And I will say overall, just to get this out of the way, do I prefer Daryl Dixon over Dead City? Yes, I definitely do. Looking at both seasons as a whole, I really like what Daryl Dixon did. And Daryl Dixon, there's parts about it that felt more like The Walking Dead, but there's also parts of Dead City that definitely still felt more like The Walking Dead in terms of its atmosphere and the environments and stuff. You know, thinking of that first episode of Dead City, cinematically and everything, it just looked absolutely amazing and really felt like classic Walking Dead, for sure. Episode 3 of Dead City, to me, still feels really, I mean, to this day, I still prefer episode 5 of Daryl Dixon. That's like one of my favorite episodes I've watched of anything Walking Dead in years, but episode 3 of Dead City is still really amazing. The music at the end and everything, that feels like classic Walking Dead. If you want to show anyone anything from Dead City, if they're really unsure about watching that show, go and watch episode 3 of Dead City, like season 1. It's so perfect. A lot of the drama there between Maggie and Negan and some of the other characters, the music at the end as well. It reminds you of like season 3, season 4 around there of The Walking Dead. Just absolutely incredible. And I think that Daryl Dixon, you know, it just offers something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more new, and it kind of gives a refreshing feel to The Walking Dead universe by like getting into some stuff that I've been wanting them to get into in a very, very long time, and that is variant walkers. I think the variant walker storyline needs to become more of a bigger story here for the Walking Dead universe. Like, you can always do like these other little side stories of whatever. Dead City doesn't have to get into variant walkers yet. And you know, I think for fans that don't like the variant walker stuff, that's fine. But the variant walkers, people are excited about. Like, if you actually go back to season 11, you know, the Connie and Virgil episode, everybody thought those were variant walkers, but it ended up being cannibals, right? And the excitement for the variant walkers was just unreal. Like, people really, really got excited for that. And I think the reveal of it being cannibals was just disappointing. So I just think that this is something that they should start really focusing on a lot more. You know, Daryl Dixon, the characters are so amazing. Isabel is such a great character. I absolutely love that character, and I'm so excited that she's actually a part of season 2. And she's going to become easily, like, I don't want to say a core cast member because obviously you really can't be, but you can just tell based off of just her performance and everything. Like, just people really love that character. The last time this happened, I would say, was with Connie. Connie honestly was just an incredible character. Everyone fell in love with that character, and the same is happening here with Isabel. Like, people just love that character, and I'm so happy that she survived the finale because I was a little concerned there, and now I think they probably know that Isabel is a really popular character with Walking Dead fans, so they're probably going to want to keep her around for a bit, right? So definitely very good. You know, I'm very excited to see Isabel meet Carol and stuff. Like, I wonder what that relationship's going to be like. I think that could be really, really cool, to be honest. And just the show being in France in general, the villains are like just really insane. The finale sort of felt like a spy movie when they were trying to escape Madame Gene's place, or whatever you would call it. The cinematography of this show just looked incredible. And that's the one thing I would definitely say with this show was better than Dead City. Like, Dead City, we saw the visuals of New York and all of that. We didn't see a lot, though. Like, there was actually quite a bit, but there wasn't as much as Daryl Dixon. Like, in Daryl Dixon, we saw it constantly. There were so many visuals of this place and that place. Like, there was a lot. Like, they honestly, I feel like the budget for Daryl Dixon, like, it had to have been bigger than Dead City. With Dead City, they gave us some shots of, like, New York City and all of that, but it wasn't a lot of shots. It would just be, like, in the beginning of an episode. Whereas in Daryl Dixon, it was a lot just like throughout the episode. And even the places that they were in, they just looked so different. It felt like it was so alive and that there were so many people around. Like, it felt massive in scale compared to Dead City, where a lot of those places that they were in felt very small scale. And some of it was all right when they were like in the apartments and all of that. But again, when they went into the arena, that's where it really felt small. And I was like, this place is supposed to feel really big, but it just felt so small. And again, I talked about episode 4 before. I don't like that episode. Yeah, and so I just have to give the edge overall to The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. To me, this show here is just absolutely phenomenal. I really, in terms of a rating, I don't know what I would give it as a rating, because like, there flaws in the show? Yeah, there's little flaws here and there, but I enjoyed it just as a 6-episode story for, you know, what they're setting up here. I thought it worked really, really well. Like, if I had to give it a rating, it has to be like a 9.5 to 9.7 or 9.8 out of 10, around there. Like, it's a very, very good show. I really love this show. You know, there's so many references to a lot of things, a lot of new ideas introduced that a lot of other shows would never take the risk on doing. And it was just honestly really incredible. I loved the first season. Ever since I watched that first episode, all the stuff with the variant walkers was just so exciting, and I really cannot wait to see where they go in season 2, because Madame Genet really seems like she wants to step up those experiments. She was embarrassed really bad by Daryl Dixon, especially when he threw that walker head at her, like in front of everybody. She was so not happy about that. So I do expect in season 2 for these variant walkers to be much more aggressive. I think that a lot of the flaws that we saw in them in terms of, you know, I guess the walkers killing each other, first of all, I mean, that was so cool to see that. I've never seen a walker kill another walker and just so aggressive like that. But obviously that's a flaw. That can't happen. Like, if you want to have an army of them, they're all just going to kill each other, right? So that can't happen. You actually have to have them, like, you know specifically to attack a human. So there are some things that she's going to have to work on. And obviously that's going to be a thing in season 2. So I'm excited to see where they take it for season 2 in terms of that. There's obviously going to be some changes there where they do fix some stuff. And yeah, the variant walker stuff is going to get very interesting, because I do think it's going to play a bigger role in the story. And just, you know, the fact that they actually went there with everything, like, it's just really, really insane, because they were never going to do that with Dead City and all the other spinoffs as well. I don't know why they never really went into this area, but like, people want this. Like, people really want this. It's so exciting. It's so terrifying. It makes walkers really terrifying again. And I really, after seeing that, like, normal walkers just aren't scary. Like, they really just aren't scary anymore. And there's stuff about it that I think you could make a little bit more scary again. You know, there's certain things about when characters die and become walkers, you can kind of do some stuff with that. But in terms of just keeping normal walkers around and doing a survival story, yes, you can tell stories like that, but it's not the same anymore. Like, in season 1 and 2, you know, the walkers were actually a lot more terrifying. And that was the difference then, because back then with the story, our characters were scared of all these walkers because it was the first time they were encountering it. And, you know, what got scarier as time went on was them trying to, you know, survive out there. And it was really, really hard for them to do that. And that's the part where, you know, when I look back at The Walking Dead, it wasn't necessarily the zombies that made it terrifying. It was more of just the world and, you know, trying to keep your family safe and stuff like that. That's the part that I feel like everyone can relate with, you know, and I think that is what made it The Walking Dead. And obviously, as time went on, the walkers became less and less scary, and our characters became so equipped to be able to handle the world that it was just a little bit more comforting, right? And then you get Alexandria and all that. And then it was like, okay, we know how to survive in this world now. So that's why I think for a lot of people, they may have tuned out and stuff, because that show, you know, it wasn't the same as what it was in the beginning. And now I think with Daryl Dixon, they've actually changed it a lot, where those variant walkers are terrifying, right? And if those walkers are let loose everywhere, it is actually really scary for people to just be like roaming around, just walking around like they usually do. If Daryl's out there doing like this hunt or whatever, he has to actually watch out and be careful, because if there's variant walkers around, that's scary. Like, that's actually really scary. Like, everyone has to change all their strategies up immediately. So again, that hasn't happened yet, because obviously in season 1, it was just a couple of walkers, more contained, and it was a serum that was shot into those walkers. But going forward, if that does happen and it starts to spread around France, that is where things get really, really scary. And they introduced this here. So I just think as a premise, Daryl Dixon is just, honestly, it's one of the best things I've ever watched really with The Walking Dead in a very long time. And I would say the show is better than so much of The Walking Dead, like so many seasons of that show. There might just be moments and little things here and there of The Walking Dead that I just prefer more. The Varian Walker scene to me was probably way more epic than Rick's final scene. And I really would confidently say that, because Rick's final scene was cool and all of that, but it wasn't like, when I saw that Varian Walker freaking out, I was so excited. Like, I was genuinely excited. When Rick like shot the dynamite and everything, and all that happened, I felt more sad and kind of shocked, and it was like, whatever. It, you know, in terms of pure excitement and just like with where the show can go and all of that, the Varian Walker scene was just absolutely amazing. I think that it's going to be one of the best scenes ever, because it was honestly one of the first times we've ever seen a Walker do that. And again, I just think it's absolutely amazing. In terms of like my favorite seasons and all of that, like, I know season 9 is definitely up there. The Varian Walker stuff does change some things for me, though. I might have to go back and rank my favorite seasons of all time. I know season 4 and 5 are up there. Well, season 4 specifically. Yeah, I'll have to go back and rank them at some point. But speaking of rankings, let's actually rank all 6 episodes here of Daryl Dixon. So I might as well just sort of go through this a little bit quicker and not just make a whole thing and give a speech about it. But starting from worst to best, I would have to say my worst episode would have to be episode 4. And it's kind of weird because for Dead City, episode 4 was also my worst as well. I just think that episode 4 of Daryl Dixon, it was a great episode. It was actually a really great episode. It's just that not a lot happened. And it was one of those parts of the story where it was kind of served as like a transition from, you know, where they were at in episode 3 and then getting to Madame Janae's place or whatever. So, you know, episode 4 was just kind of in a weird spot there. And I guess number 5 would have to be episode 3. Episode 3 I liked. It was a great episode. Not really a lot of issues with it overall, but I would say that it's just not as great as the other ones. And that's kind of my whole thing with all of these episodes. I really enjoyed all of them. It's just there's ones that are better overall. Number 4 would have to be episode 2. Episode 2 I did actually really like it actually showed our characters out on their own for the first time, sort of traveling around, and yeah, I think it was a solid episode. And number 3 would have to be episode 1, which was just like the premiere, very solid premiere, really set up this world in a really amazing way. Number 2 would have to be episode 6, the finale. Yes, it was really cool to see Carol, the Varian Walker battle and everything. The whole episode was just very phenomenal and really felt like a proper just ending to the whole season and really set up season 2 in an awesome way. But my number 1, episode 5, I think just has to be, it's just a little bit better, because a lot of the backstory stuff with Daryl, there was just a lot of excitement there. You know, the emotional scene between Daryl and Laurent was just insane. And then the build up to the Varian Walker reveal. That Varian Walker reveal is going to be probably one of my favorite Walking Dead moments of all time. Because when I watched it, I genuinely was so excited. I was kind of freaking out. I was freaking out. Like, it made me feel like a kid again, just getting excited about, you know, like horror scenes and all of that. And that scene is just, I kind of think it's going to be one of those more iconic scenes overall. Like, it's sort of unfortunate that The Walking Dead isn't as big as it used to be, because I just imagine a scene like that happening in season 4 and 5, and like Rick and Daryl or whatever are out in the woods, and then they see this walker get shot with a serum and then start to turn like that. Like, with how big The Walking Dead was then, people would be freaking out, because it was just, it was insane. Honestly, watching that scene, I can't believe we're actually at this point where we have them here in this universe. It's so exciting, and I really hope they do so much more with that. So anyways, that's my ranking overall. So I guess to recap, my overall ranking would have to go from worst to best would be 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5. I think I have that right. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember. I know episode 2 and 3 are kind of equal to me, so you can kind of swap them, I would say. But yeah, episode 5 is my favorite, and episode 4 would be my least favorite, I guess. But yeah, definitely post your thoughts down below. Post your review overall of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. And what did you prefer, Daryl Dixon or Dead City? Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.